Welcome back to another episode of The Tech John, the show where we talk about the week's top tech stories from points of view you don't always hear in mainstream media. In this episode, we discuss a sitting president telling private sector companies to fire employees he doesn't like, the backlash on AI creator-generated content, Africa launching its own internet, and U.S. TikTok kind of feeling state-run. Got all this and more for you in episode 196 of The Tech John from Columbus, Ohio. I'm your host, Robb Dunewood.
And coming out of Atlanta, this is Terrance Gaines, a.k.a. BrothaTech, a.k.a. almost college dad. My daughter starting the application process for college entrance, and she is already getting positive responses. So getting a little bit closer, getting a little bit more realer. So just looking forward to the next stage.
So here's my question, because it's been 4 years since my youngest went off. Are they still doing did they start back to doing the college application fees? Because my daughter being a pandemic baby, she didn't have, like, pretty much every school just wiped the fees for entering college when she went 4 years ago. But is that still the case, or do you have to pay like the $75 to $150 or more for every application that you submit?
You got to pay.
Yeah, I kind of figured that they was gonna bring that stuff back.
Well, I mean, if you're smart about it, you don't have to pay.
Mhm.
Like, for instance, this college acceptance letter that she just got, we went to their um, college day to where
Mhm.
they're almost like an open, call it open house. It was an
Mhm.
open house for the college. And they said, hey, if you just go through the process here, into your name, into your basic information, we'll waive the application fee. You just got to sit there and do it. So my daughter sat there for about 10 minutes, make sure she filled out all the information, submitted the application. But then, of course, we did it like this time last year. So we just had to keep up and make sure we upload her resume or her transcript or whatever, and fill out all the extra stuff. Once you check the stuff off the list,
Mhm.
they'll tell you whether or not you're accepted. So, I mean, there's ways around it, but yeah, long story short is if you just going in cold turkey and not doing just a little bit of research, yeah, you're going to have to pay them application fees.
Well, man, it's just a two of us episode. This week, Steph is out, but we're gonna go ahead and jump into things. But before we do, just to keep with what we've started back in episode 190, we've been shouting out all of our founding 50. These are the folks who have been with us since the very beginning, the first 50 people who became patrons of the Tech John, and we've been shouting them out. So this week, let's see who we have: Brian Wilson, Chaim Jeffers, Paul France, Jeff Steinhauer, and Anthony Rodriguez Jr. So thanks to all of you for holding us down. And last week, I forgot to actually do the shout outs at the top of the show. No, I did it at the end, but I said I would come back and announce these folks at the top of the show so they can make sure they hear their names. And last week, it should have been Nathan McLean, John Zapala, Bex Fortin, Robert Milton, and Brian Yeager. So thank you to all of you who are founding 50. I think we're getting kind of close to getting all through the founding 50, and we're just going to keep it going through episode 200 for folks who have literally been supporting us since the beginning. So with that being said, let's jump into some of this tech. And the first thing, and I just saw this today, man. So I kind of titled this, "If you give an inch, he'll take a mile." But Trump has demanded that Microsoft fire their global affairs head, Lisa Monaco. He's called for the immediate termination of her. She is Microsoft's president of global affairs, citing her past roles in the Obama and Biden administrations as national security aide and deputy attorney general. So basically, he don't like her. So I don't like you. So Microsoft, you need to fire this person. And I don't want to say that this is unique or this is something that has never happened before, but it's not par for course for sitting presidents to just say, "Hey, I don't like this person who works for this private sector company. They need to be let go." That is it safe to say that's uniquely a Trump thing that would do something like this and actually call out and say, "I don't like these people. They need to go."
Outright, yes. I'm pretty sure all presidents have either moved some people into positions from people from their camp or people that they recommended or people who paid them, or they've moved somebody out. Again, it don't take much for a company to fire you in general. Now,
Hmm.
let's not, you would think it would be more complicated for the White House to do it. Not so much. It's just as easy as you getting fired from your job at McDonald's, apparently, with all the firings and all the reorganizations, air quotes, and all the government efficiency, air quotes, that the administration has been doing for the past year. I'm not surprised. Is it shocking that it's done so outright and so obviously the only reason why he is wants to have this lady fired is because he don't like her? Yes, in the sake of democracy, yes. But in Trump's two terms, this is not surprising at all.
Yeah. I'm thinking about Kamala Harris's book, 107 Days. She should have named that Joker "I Told You So" because it's like literally everything that she said was going to happen. This dude is doing. He's going to do this. He's doing. He's going to do that. He's doing it. And this, like I said, this isn't really even a tech story. It's just, wow, you have a president who doesn't like you. So he's coming after your livelihood because you were in an administration, for presidents that he doesn't care for. And because of that, you shouldn't work wherever he doesn't think you should work. Now, I think that his rationale for this is that, what is he saying here? He's arguing that her current position gives her access to highly sensitive information, which he considers unacceptable.
So basically, what he's saying is that since she worked for presidents, her now being at a role as a civilian at a company as major as Microsoft, you could she he can make the reach that she had access to sensitive government information that then she could then use either for, I'm assuming for, since she works for Microsoft, in Microsoft's favor. That's the reach that they are trying to connect the dots on.
And it used to be that one of the reasons that folks would go and work for presidential administrations is because they know that once you leave that administration and go back into the into the private sector or the public sector, once you leave the administration, companies are really happy to have you come and work there.
Mhm.
And so by this logic, if you basically worked in an administration that he doesn't like, then you shouldn't be able to hold jobs because you had information when you were part of the administration. It's like it makes no. This is what I say all the
Look,
time. It's like it
listen.
makes sense if you don't think about it. This doesn't even make sense if you don't think about it. It just doesn't make any sense. I don't like you. You can't work anywhere.
Are you saying that that doesn't happen in general, or you're saying that shouldn't happen at the highest level of United States government?
I am saying that it shouldn't be. So let me say two things. Does this happen all the time? Like you said, absolutely.
Mhm.
Does it happen with the president? It's like, is the president the one going on social media or going on TV or whatever the case is and saying
Yeah,
you shouldn't be able to work on earth
right.
any longer?
True,
That's
and
different.
that is different, but it, again, like I said, it's not surprising for Trump, and it's not even to me. I don't put nothing past nobody. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody decided to write a book on any previous president that the subject of the book was solely on who did they fire and who they get rid of and why. I bet if they did that, you would find that some people was let out the back door on the low for some stuff that was considered, you know, partisan, right? But we don't ever hear about it because it wasn't Trump. Now we got, oh boy, now it's like he just, that's what he does, and it's almost like this is what America voted for. So yes, now we got to talk about it.
And keep it 100. Don't come to us with this. I didn't know this is what it was going to be like. No, this is what you picked. So that this is where we are. I just feel bad for all the folks who didn't pick it and have to live through this. Dude, it's just now almost October.
Mhm.
He's only been in office since the end of January. It
I know.
seems like it has been a couple of years. It ain't even been a year yet. We still got another third of the year to go, or literally 4 months almost to go for it to be a full year for him to have been in office. It is mind boggling the stuff that is going on, and we seem pretty okay with it. So But anyway, man, one of the other things that you stuck in here, and this one is really interesting to me. I even expanded upon it. But you wrote about how creators of AI actress Tilly Norwood have responded to some backlash about AI creators being out there, and have even created a new talent agency for AI creators. So tell us what's going on with that.
Well, basically, there is a design studio called AI Tools Company, rather, called Particle 6. And what they've done is they have created a AI generated influencer, I guess is who she is. Her
Hmm.
name is Tilly Norwood, is this fake person, and they have an Instagram account. And I went and looked at the Instagram account, and it's pretty impressive. If you ain't never heard nothing about AI ever and looked at this lady's Instagram, I mean, it ain't nothing fantabulous or nothing. It just seems like a regular lady who is into acting and maybe does some modeling, but is a Instagram influencer like the millions of other people. There's nothing that stands out from this. It ain't like tons and tons of posts. This is maybe like a dozen or maybe a dozen or 2 dozen Instagram posts. And it looks like just a regular run of the mill Instagram influencer trying to get into acting, trying to get into maybe some modeling and maybe doing some brand influence and brand ad marketing, right? So according to like you mentioned, this Particle 6 company who created this AI generated actress, there was some pushback, of course, artists, actors, as you would imagine, like, yo, this is the beginning of people being able to spin up imaginary folks and compete for the same brand deals, the same views, the same resources as this AI person. They not really feeling it. So in response to that, the Particle 6 company that created this Tilly Norwood AI Instagram influencer doubled down and said they are one, Norwood, their answer is one, Tilly Norwood is not a replacement for a human being, but a creative work dot dash a piece of art. So to take it a step further, they have went on and actually are about to spin off, like Rob said, and create a talent agency for its AI creations. So they're going to generate AI creations or artwork as they call it. And then that person or entity is going to be managed under their management, their talent agency. And then if anybody wants to quote unquote work with Tilly Norwood, they've got to go through the talent agency and air quotes book her to promote products. I would assume, and I it's obvious as much as Particle 6 says Tilly Norwood is not going to replace a human being. The fact that they are spinning up a talent agency and making it known that if you want to book this AI person, call, email, whatever you do to book her, and she can promote your brand, which puts her in direct competition of people who Particle 6 claims she is not taking the place of.
So th- this is where AI is getting on my nerves. y- they're telling you that this is art. It's not art. Art doesn't go out and say, "Get me, set me up a talent agency." So anybody who's interested in my art can have me artistically say nice things about their company, and you pay us money for it. That's not art. That's advertising. This is marketing. So
True, but Instagram nowadays is nothing but marketing and advertising. I'm not playing devil's advocate. I'm just saying this is where it's going. And
mhm.
we can pretend like it ain't right. Well, I mean, we can claim it ain't right. We would have justifiable reasons to say it ain't right. That don't mean it ain't gonna stop.
No, it's definitely not going to stop. And we didn't talk about this story, but there's a company called Inception Point, and they aim to release 3,000 AI podcast episodes weekly across 5,000 AI generated podcasts. And this is, one of these things where they say that they can create these episodes for less than $1.
Mhm.
And if they can generate 20 impressions, 20 views or listens to this content, everything beyond that is profitable. So
Mhm.
what they're doing is we're going to flood the zone with as much content as we possibly can. Most of these probably will never hit, but if the ones that do, if we can get to where we have 20 downloads an
Mhm.
episode, that episode is now profitable. And you multiply that times 3,000 episodes a week across 5,000 actual AI generated podcasts, this company is betting that we will make money doing this. And that's the only play for it. Now here's a
Right.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
I was going to say I've actually gone out and listened to some of these podcasts, and they are what you would think they are. They're truly horrible. But the thing is, are they good enough that they can get 20? Because that's what their metric is. If we can get 20, we make money. 21, we make more money. 22, we make more money. 2,000, 20,000, 200,000. That's the thing here. So none of them are good. If anyone is familiar with Notebook LM, they are about the quality of a Notebook LM type podcast. And this is where you can go in and you can actually do research on something. You can enter in articles and this kind of stuff for anybody who's not familiar with the Notebook LM. But one of the outputs is an actual podcast. So what will happen is that it'll take articles or information that you're doing research on, and then it'll create a two-person podcast and it'll walk through all the information that you've collected. And it's not great, but it is passable. So like if you're in a hurry, let's say there's something, some research that you didn't have the opportunity to read, but you need, but you're driving, you can listen to it. It's good enough for that. These podcasts are that. Here's the other thing is that where I do think that these shows might actually make money. And we, of course, automatically jump to shows like this, shows that are, audio dramas and stuff like that, where it's truly people behind it and pushing it. That's not necessarily where they're trying to make their money. They might want to do things like hyper local traffic reports. So they can literally give you the traffic report in almost real time where you are while you're looking for the information, or they might give you a weather report at a particular place that you might be going to. So you're not trying to go watch a whole weather forecast. You just want to see what is the weather like in this particular place where I'm about to go have this cookout. And because they can just pump this content out so easily and so effectively, the goal is like, can we just get 20 people to listen to this? And if the
And they'll
answer is
get it.
yes, then we make money.
And they get it. And they'll get it because there is a such thing out there right now that we all partake in called AI slop. Well, let me not say that. Faceless, let's use Instagram, faceless Instagram accounts.
Hmm.
We don't know the person behind it. We don't know the subject of the brand or the information they're trying to portray. It's just video after video after video after video. And I guarantee you, we're watching those videos and liking them and commenting on the fake faceless AI slop, because the reason why I call it AI slop is because there's no one dude sitting there on Instagram like, oh, this video got a lot of views and comments. Let me repurpose it on my website and let me add the caption and let me change the title. There's no one person doing that. They didn't set this thing up on automation. They're either automating the process of downloading somebody's video, re-uploading it to their own page and adding a caption, or AI is doing it based off of the popularity, based on how many views, based on how many impressions, whatever the case may be. And we are on Instagram, ha ha ha, liking it, laughing it, commenting, whatever the case may be. So, like just recently, I have decided to stop only engage in content from creators that I believe or think are real. Now, if I get fooled, you got me. But what I've started to do is if I'm a comment or I'm going to like a Instagram post, I'll check and see, all right, is this person a person, whatever the case may be. Now that takes a little bit more time on my end instead of just laughing and scrolling and liking. But it's just like, am I going to be a part of the solution, or am I a part of the problem by liking and commenting all this AI stuff? But then on the other side of my mouth, say, oh, AI should be this and AI should be that. But I'm part of the problem because I'm liking and scrolling and laughing. So all that to say, this stuff will go, this stuff will be popular, this stuff will be profitable because it's up to the consumer to say, nah, we don't want it. And how you don't want it is you don't comment to where it don't get 20, the 20, whatever. It gets 19 because Rob listened to it already.
Yeah, I only listened to a few of them. Like I said, I was doing it for
I'm just
the
busting your chops,
I
man.
know you messing with me, man, but like I said, I only was listening to them because it makes me cringe. Being a podcaster and deriving my income, this is how I pay for lights and groceries. Being that this is what I do, I am not a fan of AI coming
I can
in
imagine.
and ultimately trying to do some of the things that I do. And particularly for like some of my shows that are news oriented, I'm just reporting on the news that it happened. These are the things that can ultimately be, hit first. Now, not this particular show, because I don't think the AI is going to be getting us right anytime in the, in the foreseeable future. But it is very problematic, and people are saying that they don't like it. But like you, unless folks are willing to change their behavior, you've changed
Hmm.
your behavior. I've
Hmm.
actually changed my behavior. The amount of stuff that I actually will like, I hardly ever like anything anyway, but the stuff that I will comment on, I'm like you. I actually will double click on the name first, go look and see, wait a minute, is your account older than 15 or 20 minutes? I'm being facetious, but is their account been around for years? If it has, okay, then it's probably a real account. Do they have a
Or,
bunch of real stuff on the account? Are there real
right.
faces there? These people that you've seen other places? I actually make those kind of decisions. So you're right. It takes a lot more time to do that in order to feel like I'm replying to something that is actual real. Now,
And not just that, real quick, not even just fake. Like I've started to not comment on posts where somebody didn't even tag the originator of the video.
mhm.
It's like I'm not going to go on your post and like and comment when one, it's stolen content, number one. Number two, it could be fake. And number three, if it ain't fake, you ain't take the time to tag the person who created it or tag the person you got it from so I can go down to the rabbit hole and get to the actual person. Because what I'm started to do is go down, I see a person, I see a comment, I see a video that I've seen it before. Now I'm like, all right, I didn't seen this on three different accounts. Let me go find the originator and see if they originally put up the video so they get my likes and they get my comments and they get my impressions. So, but it takes a lot again, and I think that's why it's going to prosper, like you mentioned, because ain't everybody going to do it. People love to complain. People don't want to take action.
I do think the AI fatigue is kind of becoming a thing, though. I think folks are getting tired. I don't want to say they're getting tired of using it because it is useful. You can get some really good information out of using it. You have to scrub it to make sure it's not hallucinating, but it's a useful thing. So it's not like this is going to go away. But I do think folks that are kind of getting tired of, okay, can I actually see a real picture of a real cat? Can I see a real can I listen to a real podcast from real people recording it? Can I watch a video of actual people out in the world doing whatever it is that was funny, that along with the hook? I think that folks are kind of longing for that because there is so much AI slop. Now, some folks are saying that, well, the slop that's being created is better than a lot of the content. That's for people to decide. But I would much rather determine whether or not a post from a real person is good or not, as compared to having to compare it to something that is from
That's
a
fake.
computer. This is just fake. Just, like the content may be real because it's like, content that exists in the world, but it's not from a person. And I'm personally just not terribly interested in that. So just on this point, man. So you out of the three of us, I know Steph's not here, but you have been the one that's like, nah, I really ain't messing with AI like that. But have you come around to actually using it at all for anything in your day to day, or just every now and again, I might need to jump into ChatGPT and do this, ChatGPT and do this, or Gemini and do that? Have you come
I
to that yet?
use no. But I maybe um you tell me, right? So I will go into an AI tool, not ChatGPT, but something the same, and will be like, "Hey, help me word this better." you know, I'll come up with a sentence. Hey, shorten this up, make it more concise. Whatever the case may be, I'll do stuff like that using AI. I will use AI to get quick answers to things that I already kind of know. I just need validation. Like if I'm like, for instance, we're doing home improvement project in our house over the weekend, and I'll ask a question like, how do you install LVP, the fake wood flooring that's
Hmm.
waterproof, right? And I'll ask that into the chat GPT, and they'll say, oh, you need to make sure the floor is level, you need to put down an underlayment to protect from moisture, and you need to lock in the pieces according um to make less cuts. And I'm like, that makes sense. So then I go about my business, right? I'm not fact checking that. I'm not, trying to make sure what's the source. I ain't trying to get different opinions. That makes sense. Step one, make sure the floor is level. Step two, put the underlayment down to protect from moisture. Step three, lay out your floor so you can make as less cuts as possible. So that's the kind of stuff that I'm using AI for. Not necessarily help me um, put out 10 podcast reels with captions and quotes and emotes, right? That, which is, I'm assuming, what a lot of people are doing. Now, there is an AI tool that helps me clip some of our videos,
Hmm.
but even still, though, if that tool never existed, I would still just do it the old way. That's kind of like my
Hmm.
gripe with AI, like you talked about before. It's like at least need to know how to do it first, because if the tool goes away, or my credit card is declined, or the internet's down, I can still be like, all right, let me go ahead and get out my stone and my tablet and my chisel, and get to work.
So I think what you are describing in the way that you're using it is probably how most people, not most people listening to this show, but most people just
In
in
general.
the world are
Mhm.
using it. It's like, oh, this is actually kind of useful. It sped me up. It gave me the information that I need. I'm noticing now, because I am in Google's ecosystem, that I'll, hey Google, not, I just set my thing off, but I'll just go to a Google search window and type something in that I'm looking for, and get back the AI overview, and not be bothered by it, because the AI overview is exactly what I was looking for, because it was just like this specific piece of information, something that didn't need to be fact checked. It was like, what is the address to this place, or how do I do this, or where can I get this thing? And
Mhm.
it's really good for answering those kind of questions. And just thinking about some stories from last week, it it actually uh, appears that, particularly when it comes to ChatGPT, there was a study that was done, and what the researchers found was that uh, the stuff that people are doing with AI is actually growing much faster on the personal use side than
Mhm.
on the business side, which was
Mhm.
kind of like, we didn't really anticipate that. We thought that it was going to grow, much quicker
In
in,
enterprise.
in enterprise. With, we've had all the, the stories of doom and gloom about how this is going to take your job, and that, this and that and the other. And I don't want to discount
All
that.
the energy and all that stuff.
There's those things too.
Mhm.
But what it turns out is that regular folks have now gotten a hold of this, and it's just making those things, like you said, it's like, hey, how do I lay this flooring down properly?
Mhm.
And that answer that it gives you is perfectly fine for what you were looking for. Like, oh, okay, and you can just use it. That is where the fastest growth, at least of ChatGPT, is concerned. Is coming in. The other thing that this study was exposing is that not nearly as many people as we thought were going to be displaced directly by AI at this point, as actually have been displaced by AI at this point. And part of the problem of that, and we've talked about this on the show before, is that there's still a lot of inaccuracies in this stuff. When you go to like use AI to code, the code is not as clean as if you would have just coded it by hand, if you would have just did it yourself. So still today, coders who have experience are better at coding than what AI is. Now, where AI is coming in is that if you're brand new to coding and you're just starting in this stuff, it's pretty much on par with you. So there is a problem there. But when it comes to actually creating the code, a lot of developers have come out and said, I'd rather just do it myself, because I don't, if I do it myself, I don't have to go back and debug myself. I know that I used the right library. I know that I made the right call. I know that the code is efficient. Whereas if I use AI to do this, I have to spend more time figuring out what it did and why it did it differently than the way I would have done it, than if I would have just did it myself. So
Mhm.
that's the thing. So I think what it is, and this is not my saying, many people have said this, but it is not that AI is replacing you. It is the person that uses AI effectively is the one that may replace you. So there's still going to be some
Uh,
job displacement from it, but it's those who know how to use it and know how to do the thing without having to use it are the ones who are ultimately, potentially taking the jobs from folks. So it's like I said, AI fatigue is becoming a thing. People are getting tired of it just because it is AI everything.
well, maybe they're getting tired of us talking about it, not necessarily getting tired of it in general.
Yeah, that could be the case. But I wanted to change gears a little bit and talk about TikTok because we are in a different spot with TikTok. An executive order clearing the way for a U.S. TikTok acquisition has been signed, but China hasn't really said much about the deal. The Chinese government suspects that the wishes of the enterprise and welcomes. Let me read this. The Chinese
Mhm.
government respects the wishes of the enterprise and welcomes it to carry out commercial negotiations in accordance with market rules to reach a solution compliant with China's laws and regulations. That's a long way to say it. It's like, yeah, we working on something, but we really ain't got a whole lot to say about it. On the other
And not
side,
only that,
go
but
ahead.
not only that, we may not even sell it because it don't say nothing about sale. It
Says
doesn't say
nothing.
nothing about equity. It just says welcome market rules to reach a solution.
Hmm.
Just because you say solution don't mean purchase or sale or acquisition. That's just solution. The Chinese solution could be y'all go on about your business. We ain't never selling this thing. To them, that's a solution too. No is a solution.
So one of the really interesting things is like I said, so the president did sign an executive order last week. They've got companies lined up. Oracle is going to be a big player in this. Rupert Murdoch is going to potentially be a big player in this. Definitely Larry Ellison as the owner of Oracle or the CEO, the executive of Oracle with the most stock in it. It's going to be a big part of this. But the thing that is interesting to me is that in listening to the president talk about it, he said things like, fine Americans are going to be behind this. And that's a very, very specific state because when this dude says fine Americans, he's talking about a certain set of Americans. He doesn't mean everybody. He means
Mhm.
a certain set of them. Now, according to what has been said, the United States is not picking any winners here. That's what they're saying. I don't know if that's the case. But when you look at the list of people whose name have been associated with this, it's like, huh, they're friendly to to the current administration. Huh, they're very friendly to the current administration. They were part of the current administration at one point. It's those kind of folks. So my question is that, and here's the other thing. The US government is getting a fee for brokering the deal, which that's weird. The federal, like I think Trump is running the federal government like it is his business. Hey, we are going to broker this deal. Therefore, whoever
We need a
buys
finder's
this,
fee.
we need to get some money off of this. That's generally not I have to stop saying generally because this is how the
Mhm.
government operates because this is the government with
Mhm.
the run right now. So this is exactly how it operates. It's not a general thing. It is the thing. In fact, it is general. This is generally how it operates. Um, but that's weird. That is not generally how these things are done. I know I just used that word again, but it didn't. Let me say it like this: it didn't happen like this in the before times. So here's my question to you, because I really don't use TikTok like that. Most of the TikTok videos I see, I don't see them on TikTok. I see them on Instagram or on Threads or someplace else where somebody's literally copied the video and brought it over and gave
That's my point. That's
exactly
my
done
point.
exactly that. I'm not really over there logging into a TikTok. I don't even think I have TikTok installed on my phone.
Mhm.
So, but none of this stuff with the US being involved in this and there now being a US version of TikTok makes me say, "Ooh, I want to go over and now start using TikTok." It almost feels kind of state media like to me. Now, I hope that that's not the case. But it kind of feels like that with just the way that the president is talking about who's going to ultimately run it, what kind of people they are. And maybe this is just my bias about I don't particularly care for the person that's in the office. So because anything that they say about anything, I want to look at side eye. I will, I am aware enough of myself to say I might have some bias there.
Well,
But there's nothing
let me
about a US TikTok that makes me say, "Ooh," because it's now US, or will potentially be, because it's not done yet. China has to sign completely off on this, and they have not yet, because it could be a US entity, at least for the US user data. Doesn't make me just say, "Ooh, I want to go jump on TikTok all of a sudden."
Well, so let me read the what CNN has as it relates to the details that they have now. The deal will hand control of TikTok's U.S. operations along with a copy of the algorithm to the new U.S. based joint venture, according to the White House. The ownership group will have a more majority of American investors, including all the people that you mentioned. And oh well, let me add some people here and Lachlan Murdoch's Fox Corp
Mhm,
and be run by a majority American board of directors. ByteDance is expected, not agreed to, expected to retain a stake no greater than 20%. So
mhm,
all that says, well, all that sounds like it's just US based TikTok. I
right.
don't know about state run media, but the fact that Trump is trying to get some coin out of this and the fact that just in general Trump made it happen means that I'm pretty sure he's going to have some emphasis when things don't go his way with Instagram, whether it be a post, whether it be a comment, whether it be a something. I'm pretty sure Trump will have Larry Ellison and them on speed dials, like, hey, I don't like that post. And then they're gonna have to figure out Oracle and them gonna have to figure out what to do. So
Mhm.
in that case, I guarantee it ain't state-run media, but I'm guaranteed Trump and the administration will have a heavy say in what goes on that TikTok app, which leads to your point. I don't know if people want to get down with that, but
So
we'll
and,
see.
and here's why I say this. So the big thing with TikTok is this algorithm. And we've said on this show since this bill was passed back in 2024, it's like, how are you going to do this without the algorithm? Well, what it looks like from at least what we're reporting, because once again, China hasn't said anything on this, but what it looks like from what is being reported from the United States side of things is that the algorithm will be leased from ByteDance. And once it's leased from them, they will then use US user data to retune it to make sure that it's tuned to just US users. So here's my thought on that. It's like, okay, that sounds cool if you trust the people who are doing the tuning. And this, to Stephanie's point, this is the point that Stephanie has been making since the beginning of this. It's like, you're saying that you're doing this because you care about what the Chinese Communist Party might be doing to the data. We don't have proof that they're doing it. It's just that they have the capability to do it.
Mhm.
This is the issue. But what are you going to do when Meta deals with the data in this way? What are you going to do when when Snapchat deals with the data in this way? What do you do when a new US entity is created and they are telling you, we are going to scrub the data and we're going to run, we're going to use their algorithm, but we're going to basically USify it. We are going to put our thumb on how this algorithm does what it does. And then you look at the characters who are behind this. It's like, okay, well, is this now Facebook? Or is it like Facebook? Is it like Instagram? Is it like Threads? Is it like Blue Sky? Or is it like Truth Social? Is it like X? Is it formerly
Well,
Twitter? You
Well,
know,
according to the story, Trump says, if I end quote, if I could make it 100% MAGA, I would, but it's not going to work out that way. Everyone is going to be quote treated fairly. Every group, every philosophy. So do with that what you will. Those are the
your
words
boy just
that came
told you
out
what
this
he's gonna do with it. He just told you if he has his way, it's going to be 100% MAGA. But that's not what it's going to be. Well, maybe not day one, but
Mhm.
but let me ask you this: do you trust that he said that about this platform, that it won't be significantly, MAGA bent towards how it
I don't
looks at data?
I don't believe it'll be 100% right leaning or conservative leaning or Trump leaning. What I believe is going to happen is at any time something is said on the app that Trump doesn't like, he may make a phone call and then it's going to be up to whoever controls the US version of TikTok to decide, no, they didn't say anything that, threatened your life or didn't say anything that put you in harm's way, but I mean, he's the one that gave them US TikTok. So they're going to take the call. They're going to listen. They may even think about acting because you got to, because he is the dude that wants fealty from everybody. He's shown it time and time again. I don't know why they think this is going to be any different.
Um, like I said, there's nothing about this that makes me want to just, ooh, now that it's going to be a US TikTok, I'm ready to go sign up. That's just me. I wasn't on TikTok before. I will say this though, they are doing something extremely smart. They are not making US users have to re-download the application.
Mhm.
Because I think that if you would have made US based users have to download a new application, they would have seen droves and droves of people who would have probably just not done that. And it's kind of like that application's out of sight, out of mind. That's millions, if not tens of millions of people. It's just kind of like they didn't mean to quit TikTok. It's just that they just didn't go download the new update. So the old app is there. It's not getting any updates. And because it's not getting any updates, they don't see anything any longer. And it just kind of, well, I don't see anything any longer. It's not on my home screen. So I just don't pay attention. That's a lot of
Mhm.
folks that would be like that. So I think it is very smart that they decided to structure this in a way that a new app does not need to be downloaded. It's the existing TikTok app will continue to work. But here's the other side of this. This is all vaporware at this point. None of this stuff actually exists at this point. We don't have the algorithm that we have access to in this way. This business structure hasn't been set up yet. This is just an executive order clearing the way. It's like, hey, I brokered this deal. So when it happens, we're going to get a VIG that's going to come to the federal government. And I'm going to be able to say I'm the one who got this deal done. I think that is a big part of it. For the president, this is that is not an uncommon thing for him to do. We've seen him do these kind of things before. So,
And to his, and not to, to not to give him some credit, but any president
mhm,
in the administration right now that is trying to broker a deal to do whatever as it relates to TikTok and US data and whatever, I'm pretty sure any president would be like, I'm the man that got TikTok stateside. Anybody would use that
mhm.
as a speech during the State of the Union, come January, or whenever State of Union is. I'm pretty sure any president would do it, but it feels different that
Yeah.
this
Well,
president is doing
here's
it.
why it feels different, because this is the kind of president he is. I brought you in this world. I will take you out.
Yeah,
And he's
sure.
shown that he will do that. He's our first story talking about, here's somebody who was in an administration that he didn't like, somebody who worked in the Biden administration and the Obama administration. I don't like this person. They can no longer work for Microsoft, a company that has nothing to do with the United States. In that sense, it's not like he runs Microsoft. Being the head of the country, he's not the head of Microsoft. That is Satya Nadella. But he's telling them, I don't like this person. I don't think they should be. I don't think they should work here. And that's just like probably not an
Not
uncommon
not a
thing
road,
behind the scenes, but for that to be out there like that,
not a road the United States wants to start going down. Definitely tell you that much.
I would not want to be one of these big tech companies that has not capitulated at this point, because you have to play the game. You really do. You've got to play the game. You can't just, I'm going to be right on the side of this. You have to be right on the side of your shareholders. Legally, that is what you have to do when you are running these big ginormous companies. You have to do right by your shareholders. That is what is expected of you. But I wouldn't want to be in that situation, because that means that you kind of have to play the game. But what do you do? What kind of stuff do you get away with? You started the show last week with, you thought you might have to cancel that Hulu account. You thought you might have to cancel that Disney Plus account, and you didn't, because they brought Jimmy Kimmel back before we actually before it actually you got to the point of canceling your account. And so when you think of, like, the folks that are running Disney, it's like they did react and they took them off the air. But I think they looked at, okay, well, what is the ramification of this? Because there is a downside to, if they would have not pulled Jimmy Kimmel off, there would have been a downside. I absolutely, those companies, I think there were a couple of them that decided to preempt, like, no, let's see, what were the names of them? Novastar, and there was one other
Next
one.
star.
Yeah, they did preempt, and they're now coming back, but that would have hurt Disney. But to not do it hurt Disney as well, because you had people like you saying, "Hey, I'm canceling my account." We talked about this last week. They literally had their website going down because so many people were trying to cancel their account simultaneously. The servers couldn't handle it. So that is a problem that Disney has to navigate. And they're not, this isn't done. You know, you look at, you know, some of these big you know, affiliates that have now brought this back. Well, why have some of these affiliates coming back? It's like, well, Jimmy Kimmel has gotten the best week of ratings, you know, almost in the show's history. There is one show more popular than the one he came back, and there's one week more popular than the week he came back last week in the history of the show, which I think has been on for 23 years. So these affiliates are now, they're missing out on that advertising money, because when you are showing the, you know, the local news again, that's not going to get the same level of advertising dollars as Jimmy Kimmel, which is the hottest thing in late night right now. So they had to make those type of you know, decisions.
Business decisions.
They also had to try to make they also had the decisions to make where, you know, I think people have gotten very savvy with how we boycott it. So no, we're not going to just not watch Disney or not watch your affiliate. We're going to call advertisers on your affiliate and say, hey, as long as you are, you know, putting, giving your dollars to this affiliate who is not allowing me to see the content I want, I'm no longer going to buy your products. That's different, because you're not messing with the affiliate's money directly. You're messing with the affiliate's sponsors' money directly. And they ain't trying to have that's like, hey, you need to get this show back up, or we can't be on your air because this is what our people are telling us. And I think that, you know, everybody is kind of playing this dance right now. And it's a precarious position that everyone is in, because we don't know how these companies are going to react. We don't know how the government's going to react to the companies and their reactions. It is a petri dish right now, and we're just seeing how the fungi grows. So I did want to and we did not have this in our notes, but I was thinking about a tech story from you know, that came out earlier today, because you are, would you consider yourself a gamer, or would you consider yourself just somebody who plays Xbox a lot?
I don't even have an Xbox. So I don't know what that means.
Okay.
I would consider myself a gamer because at any time I could go get a system or, download something on my computer. And I do play, I'm a casual, I'm a toilet gamer, I guess is what I would be. Consider myself, if I'm got some time to kill, I may whip out my phone, I may whip out my tablet and play some games, but that's the extent of it now. I used to be a gamer,
Okay.
but not as much so anymore.
Well, here's why I asked this question, or I asked that question. Electronic Arts, I'm sure you've heard of them, makers of Madden and 2K and Plants vs. Zombies, all these big giant title games, Battlefield, which is actually coming out here in a week or two. Um, they have announced that they are going to basically do a leverage buyout from, you know, I think like Saudi Arabia has something to do with it. Jared Kushner's company has something to do with it. So there's some big players, but ultimately they have been trying to sell themselves for the last few years. And
Electronic Arts.
Electronic Arts. And it
Mhm.
hasn't gone down. Basically, what companies have been saying to them is that the companies that are big enough to be able to do it, Sony, you know, Disney, Apple, Microsoft wasn't doing it because they just, you know, did everything with Blizzard. They're like, nah, it's too expensive. So this leverage buyout is $55 billion. It is now the biggest leverage buyout in history.
When you say leveraged, what does that mean?
That means that most of the money that is being used to do this deal is borrowed money. So like
Mhm.
JPMC, uh, I think they might be the biggest creditor at like 20. I think they're doing 22 to 20. It's either 20 to 22 billion of it just from JPMC, and then there'll be other creditors as well. So basically, what that means is that you know, what we've seen from other companies that have done these type of leveraged buyouts, what ends up happening is that they will extract the value out of what was acquired as quickly as they possibly can. So what does that mean for Electronic Arts? A company that is ginormous. Number one, this is the biggest leverage buyout ever if it goes through.
Oh,
Number
real quick, is it a leveraged buyout by an equity firm or is this a person like a not Elon Musk, but a Elon Musk type person that's using other people's money, but he's going to be the front man to make sure this thing goes through smoothly and make sure it remains popular,
yes, these are
profitable.
private equity firms. Like I said, one of them is actually Jared Kushner's company, the company that he's the
These are
CEO of,
all private equity
all
firms.
private equity.
Okay.
So this leverage buyout What that means is that we're going to try to extract this value. Well, let me say it like this. We've never seen a leverage buyout of this size. If it obeys by the rules and the physics of what we've seen from other leverage buyouts, they will try to extract value out of it as quickly as they possibly can. So that means that, well, because we couldn't sell Electronic Arts to another entity as a whole, we will now strip it for parts. Hey, you want Madden? Here you go. Hey, you want Plants vs. Zombies? Here you go. Battlefields is coming out. It's supposedly going to be a great game from what a lot of people are saying. You want Battlefield? You get Battlefield. So you will now see these individual properties that Electronic Arts owns go to whoever the highest bidder would be, which will be somewhere well south of $55 billion. And then the other part of it is that because it is now a privately held company, it would be significantly less regulation for a company like a Microsoft or a Sony or a Disney or an Apple to go out and make these acquisitions.
So you think that's the plan all along?
Um, I don't have any. My thoughts are based off of what I've seen other leverage buyouts do. And usually, I don't have any anecdotes or stories to tell you where, hey, this company was part of a leverage buyout and whoever did it built the company back up and turned it into something. I'm certain that there are some that has been the case, but it usually isn't. What usually happens is that we are going to strip this thing for parts and sell it, sell the parts off for as much as we can get. And at the end of it, hopefully make some money. That is the
Right,
bet.
but
We're going to try to
right.
make some money at the end of this.
Well, let me phrase it another way. You mentioned earlier that Microsoft considered it, and other companies like Microsoft considered it, and it was like, it's too expensive.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm asking is, do you believe that Microsoft was like, well, we can't afford this, but if you get some people together, yada yada yada, we'll buy some pieces off of you. And then so Jared Kushner and them and whoever's involved was like, yeah, we'll do a leverage buyout and try to equity, get rid of as much equity as possible, knowing that as soon as the ink dries on that deal, here come Microsoft. It's like, all right, now we can talk because it ain't gonna be as expensive as
Mm-hmm.
buying the whole thing, but I'll definitely take this and take this and take that. And that gets them what they need. The equity firm who's doing this or the firms that are doing this know they've got people on the wait list versus just buying the company and being like, okay, now, who wants some? They've got a list of clientele already locked and loaded. So when this deal dries on the leverage buyout, they can just start automatically spinning it out to the people who they knew was going to buy it first because they are the people that suggested that they do this in the first place.
My gut would tell me that you won't see paper trails of a company. Microsoft wasn't trying to do this. Microsoft, what they went through to get Blizzard, Microsoft was probably good for a minute. Other companies that I mentioned that were potentially looking at this, I would not put it. I would say that I would even expect that those conversations have happened in rooms where there were no, where there was no recording equipment and it wasn't said in an email. It wasn't sent in the text message. This is like, oh, it's a little too expensive for us. Now, if you guys go do something else, and then maybe in a year or two or three or however long it takes for this to get done, because this deal is actually not supposed to go through until 2027. So that means that like Battlefield is going to be good, which comes out in a week or so, a couple weeks. You would see another Madden, you would see another 2K, all of these big properties. You will see updates to those games next year for the EA titles that come out every year. They'll get the 2026 in. This deal is supposed to happen like in late 2026, like Q4 2026 or Q1 2027. So I think what happens is that the rest of this year, smooth selling like you would ever expect Electronic Arts to do. The majority of next year, same thing. But if this thing goes down in 2027, once that, as you said, once the ink is on the paper and before it even dries, that is when they start saying, "Hey, would you like to buy Madden? You couldn't buy Electronic Arts, but do you just want Madden? Hey, what about 2K? Would you like that? How about Apple? Maybe these sports games aren't your thing, but would you like Plants vs. Zombies? Um, you throw us $1 billion for that or something like that. Those kind of things could absolutely happen. And I would expect that if the conversations didn't happen between the parties, each of the parties have had the conversations internally, because that's what you expect to happen after a leverage buyout. Now, some folks are saying that EA is way too big for this to happen. That, they'll get the company and they'll turn it around. I don't know. EA has actually been doing pretty good. They had, I think 4 of the top 10 titles this year. So it's not like the company is doing bad. I just don't think that the company was doing what they wanted to do. You know how they kind of say, if you're not growing, you're dying. I think that they have maybe have gotten to critical mass, and they just can't do any more than they were already doing with the IP that they have. So my gut tells me that what's going to happen is that if this deal goes through, and they are now owned by a private equity company, they owe interest on this money. They're going to want to get them loans up off of them. Well, how can you do that? Let's sell Madden. How many billions of dollars would you get for Madden? Many of them. How many billions of dollars would you get for 2K? Many of them. How many billions of dollars would you get for Plants vs. Zombie? Many of them. Battlefield. Many of them. So I think that if this does happen, if it does go through, I see EA being broke up. And my evidence to this is that I don't know that this is going to happen. I just look at other leverage buyouts over history, and overwhelmingly, this is what they do. This is what, what happens. We spend all this money to take this, to take this company, private, and then we will sell off all of the assets. We'll strip it down to, down to the frame, and sell all these parts, and then we'll just go bankrupt on, on whatever's left. That's generally how this stuff works. So, Terrance, I think that is a nice tight 58 minutes for this episode of the Tech John. I think it's a good spot to go ahead and call it. I will say this for anyone who was listening to the show. You heard us do shout outs to our founding 50 patrons. These are folks who have been supporting the Tech John almost since the beginning, literally since the first month or two of the show, going back for over 4 years ago now. And if you would like to support the show, one of the best ways to do so is to become a patron. So if you were to head over to thetechjohn.com, that's thetechjawn.com/Patreon, or head over to patreon.com/thetechjohn. You will find multiple tiers over there, any one of which gets you access to our live stream and our after party. The Tech John is not just a podcast. We actually do a live show. And after the show, we hang out for another 20, 30 minutes and just talk about whatever. And those are Patreon exclusive. Some of our patrons actually have, and all of our Founding 50, they have a tier to where you get an ad-free stream. So there are ads at the beginning, in the middle, and the end of the show. If you don't want the ads, then you can become a patron and kind of remove those ads as well. And ultimately, supporting the show helps us bring this tech to you the way that we bring it to you. So once again, if you would like to support the show, we would appreciate you. Head over to thetechjohn.com/Patreon. And with that, Terrance, let's go and get up out of here.
All right. Yeah, you can find me all over the internet at BrothaTech. That's BrothaTech.
And I am at Robb Dunewood on all the things. We're also at the Tech John on all the things. So come holler at us however you holler. And until a week's time, we'll see you then. Peace.